Hi, I'm Mandi Traud. I am a senior data scientist at Cybraics Incorporated. This is my email and my Twitter. I also happen to be co-founder of Women Data Scientists DC, which is a meetup group here in DC for women who are data scientists, women who want to be data scientists, and supporters of women in data science. So I expect you all to join. This is my talk, Data Sciencing While Female. My talk is split up into 3 pieces. The first part is a year in the life of a data science meetup group. I'm going to talk about the first year of Women Data Scientists DC. And then I'm going to do a little data science on data scientists. And the final piece of my talk is going to be about being the only female data scientist on a data science team. So Women Data Scientists DC, like I said, is a meetup group for women who are data scientists, women who want to be data scientists, and supporters of women in data science. It was co-founded by me and Jackie Kozel, in July of 2015. As of October 2015, we became part of Data Community DC, which is a group of data science meetups in DC. It houses 7 groups currently. And it was amazing that we were able to join with Data Community DC. It now has over 16,000 members in Data Community DC, which is amazing. And in March 2016, we added Mirav Yarovlivker as one of our co-organizers. She also co-founded Data Society. Anybody heard of Data Society? And WDSDC now has over 1,200 members. As of a few minutes ago, it was 1,227. And we are just over a year. That's amazing. I'm lemming explosion happy. And if you're old enough to get that, I love you. You can visit our meetup page at meetup.com/WomenDataScientistsDC, or follow us on Twitter at WomenDataSci. And we've been tweeting a huge amount today for PyData. And you can also read our blog, which isn't posted to as much as I would like, I'm sorry for that, at the Data Community DC website. In our first year, we had a bunch of different types of events. We had talks from amazingly talented female data scientists like Lauren Lorenz, who spoke earlier today, and Jennifer Stark, who's going to speak tomorrow. We had workshops to learn Python or R concepts. We had a workshop for Python Pandas last October, and a workshop for Introduction to Shiny in last September, and we're actually bringing it back in 2 weeks. So Introduction to Shiny meetup coming up on October 19th. I'm teaching it, and we already have 41 people RSVP'd for it. It's very exciting. We had networking events like our Christmas party in December and our career meetup in January, where everybody set goals as to what they wanted to do with their data science career by the end of the year. And we had speakers from different sectors talk about what they did as data scientists, what they liked, what they disliked, and then we all brainstormed how people were going to get from where they were to where they wanted to be at the end of the year. We had some amazing inspirational speakers like Amy O'Connor from Cloudera, and Claire Goldnick, who is the chief data scientist at Terbium. And we also had a hackathon where we collaborated with Octo on traffic data. Dave Cook from Octo came and helped us figure out what the data, what each of the columns in the data set meant, and we all collaborated together in Python and R to analyze the data. It was amazing. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about data science on data scientists. Who all knows R and Shiny? Yay, some people know. Okay, so R is an amazing statistical programming language. I love R. And one of the packages in R is called Shiny. Shiny allows you to create browser-based applications that allow you to visualize things that have our statistical background. So it's awesome. I created a nice little Shiny on data science meetups. So we're gonna go do a live demo. This Shiny is available via shinyapps.io, so it's public, anybody can go to it. The first tab of the Shiny looks at the state membership for WDSDC for the first year. As you can see, what is going on? There we go. As you can see, we had members from over 21 states in the first year, even though this group is based in DC. You would expect that most of our members come from DC. So you can go in here and click on DC. 545 members from DC, 277 members from Virginia, and 175 from Maryland. And that all makes sense because DC, Virginia, and Maryland will be coming to our meetups. However, we have 11 members from California, 10 from New York, 3 from Texas, and 2 from Washington State. And others from other states on this map. You can go and click on each one and get the membership. The map was created using the package Leaflet, which allows you to use the Leaflet JavaScript package to create these really nice interactive maps. The second tab has membership data for all of the DC2 meetups for the first year. As you can see, the green line here is WDSDC, and is the second fastest growing meetup in DC2. The first fastest growing meetup is DataViz DC, and they only beat us by about 30 members in their first year, which was kind of amazing. All of the other DC2 meetups didn't quite come close. And last but certainly not least, put together a heat map of the overlap between all of the DC2 meetups. WDSDC overlaps the most with DC Data Science DC, which happens to be the largest data science meetup in DC2, but second overlap the most with DataViz DC. So a lot of our members go to DataViz DC and Data Science DC, which is awesome. And the code for this meetup or for this Shiny is also on GitHub. You're welcome to download, play with, edit, fix, make changes, all of that. Now I come to the last part of my talk. This part of my talk is for the women who are the only data scientists on their team, and their colleagues and their managers. How many people do not fall into those categories? Okay, well, hopefully this is entertaining anyway. So my experience being the only female was on 2 different data science teams, once at L3 Data Tactics and currently at my company, Cybrix Incorporated. At L3 Data Tactics, I was contracted out to a program at a government agency that had a data science team. And the data science team consisted of 40 data scientists from 3 different companies. I was the only female for the first 11 months. 1 out of 40 means that I was 3% of the team, and that's rounding up. I was 2.5%. And in industry, women are 12% of data science, so that's terrible. Just saying. At Cybrix, however, the data science team consists of 4 other data scientists and 4 cyber experts, and I've been the only female for 8 months. One of the data scientists is a chief data scientist, so I'm since he wasn't on my level, or he isn't on my level, I'm not counting him in my math. So I am 1/4 of the data science team. So that makes me 25%, which is a lot bigger than industry average, which I'm very, very proud of. And I started 8 months ago, so I've been the only female data scientist for 8 months. Now, being the only female data scientist, I try not to worry about so many things. But not worrying is very hard to do, especially for me, if you know me. I mean, I got here 15 minutes early for my talk. So, some days, I just wear my tall boots, I blast music, no. And my angry girl music. And tell myself I'm kick-ass until I start to believe it. Here are some of the things I try not to worry about. And this is for the colleagues and managers, also for the single data science females, because so you know, you're not alone. You're not the only one that worries about these things. Am I asked to do certain things because I'm talented or because they are things women are normally excel at? Am I being aggressive enough with my ideas? Am I whispering them too much so that other people steal them? Or am I being too aggressive and my coworker calls me a bitch? If I mess up, will people use it as grounds to say women aren't good at data science? And if I say some of the same things as the guys, will there be a double standard? Now, I have to say that I worried about these things way more when I was 1 of 40 than I do when I'm 1 of 4. And even working at a great company with an amazing team, being the only one is still hard sometimes. These are my guys at Cybrix. They didn't know until today that I called them my guys. Hopefully that makes them really happy. Otherwise, oh well. Are there any questions?
Having worked as the only female on teams for so long, do you have like one piece of advice you'd give to the rest of us out there who might find ourselves in similar situations?
I recently adopted a mantra, which helps me a lot. Whenever I start to worry about something, I say, I shouldn't worry about things that I can't control. I can only control me and me alone. And that helps. It helps a lot. It also helps that I voice my opinion on things when I want something to change. Because if I don't say anything, they don't change. And if you're at a place where you can't voice that opinion, you're at a bad place. Yeah?
What was it like interviewing at different places as you were transitioning jobs? Did it feel obvious that you were going to be the only woman, and did you select that company because it was a smaller team?
So that's a really good question. Neither, actually. So the first time I interviewed with the person who is my current boss was actually my boss at L3 Data Tactics as well. And so he was the one who actually partially inspired me to start WDS DC. And so it was kind of a no-brainer to follow him to Cybrix. But when I interviewed with him, it wasn't in person, it was over the phone, and I had no idea that I was going to be the only woman on the data science team at the government contract that I was at. But at the time I was coming from academia and I didn't even think about that.
So you said that there 12% of data scientists are women in industry. Mm-hmm. Why are there so few women data scientists in industry?
So I would propose that because data science is new, And most of the tech field is more dominated by men already, that men adopted data science faster than we did. I've done a lot of work with outreach for women in science. I used to be part of the Association for Women in Math, and for Girls in Science, and something happens between middle school and high school where girls are just not encouraged as much to go into science and tech. And so it hurts our percentages further down the line. I'm working really hard to try and change that, and I would suggest everybody else do the same. Yeah?
Maybe you're going to get this, but you mentioned sort of outreach efforts that you've been part of. One thing that I see a lot that I find a little frustrating is outreach efforts that sort of perpetuate gender stereotypes. So we need more women leaders because they're more intuitive, or they're more understanding, or they're more, they listen better, right? And I worry that sometimes hurts more than it helps. Have you seen taglines that you really like or that you thought were really successful?
So I would say that my favorite tagline is, we need more diversity in tech and data science, because diversity just means that everybody thinks differently and we have many outside the box opinions. Because I was the only woman on a data science team, I'm kind of holding up the flag for women in data science, but I would as much hold up the flag for increasing diversity just generally.
How do you decide what sort of moments or comments to let go and just deal with, and which ones to say something about?
That is a really good question. Unfortunately, I'm kind of the mind at the moment that I say what I feel like and I regret it later. Luckily, I have an amazing team that puts up with that from me, and they'll just tell me if I'm being annoying or if that just went too far. But when I was at my other team, I was working for a government agency, and you had to be extremely professional. A lot of the time, I would go in the bathroom and scream. And luckily, since I was the only woman, I was the only one ever in there. It is really hard to figure out what you're going to let go and what you're not going to let go. But that is something I don't think I've perfected yet. So maybe ask me in 10 years.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any change that you achieved in the teams you've been working, something that you asked for that changed for better?
Absolutely. So when I was at L3 and realized that I was the only one, I went to my boss and I said, I went to my boss and said, I would like you to hire more girls because I'm the only one and I don't like being the only one. And he said, well, I would love to, but I can't find them. And I called bullshit on that. Except for I went to go try and find them, and I couldn't find them either. Which is what inspired me to start WDS DC. So I went right back into his office and said, okay, can you help me with this and sponsor? And he's like, sure. So that was amazing. Currently at Cybraics, they sponsor WDS DC all the time for meetups anytime I need help. And anytime I need help with it, I ask, and I usually get somebody to help. Well, yeah.
How can people get involved with Women Data Scientists DC? Like if someone has a talk, can they
email me, tweet me, call me, beat me if you want to reach me. I don't have a beeper, but anybody Kim Possible fans loved Kim Possible. Anybody who wants to talk or participate or sponsor or ... with WDS DC, I welcome any help I can get. And Jackie does too, and so I'm sure so does Marav, who is our other co-organizer.
For those of us who are job hunting and want to be those women that no one can find, like, how do we figure out who's looking and try to connect with them?
So WDSDC has a job board on our meetup site, and we offer anyone who wants to post a job on our job board can post. And since we are part of DC2, I should plug Dateable. DC2 has a web app where you can submit your information if you're looking for a data science job, and companies can sort the possible candidates by all the different things like skills and clearance and education level. And the amazing thing about the Dateable app is that all the names are scrubbed. And so you pick your candidates based on skills and skills alone, and then you get their names. And there is a cost for an introduction, but it's a lot less than the data incubators are charging for recruiting. How am I on time?
It's 4:22, so.
Oh my goodness, I talked really fast. I'm sorry, guys. Are there any other questions? Yeah.
So when you are learning about a new topic or whatnot and have questions, how do you feel confident asking them when you're not sure if everyone else in the room already knows the answer?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I actually, on the other team, I spend a lot of time reading and trying to figure out things for myself instead of asking questions, because I didn't feel comfortable asking it, because there were a couple people on the team that would make me feel really stupid when I didn't know something. And it definitely wasn't the majority of the team, but just a few ruined it for me. But currently the team that I'm on is amazing, and as soon as I don't know something, I ask the room, and nobody treats me like I'm 3 inches tall when I don't know something. Half the time they're all like, yeah, I don't know any, I'd have to Google that. So, yeah.
What has been your experience when you're reaching out for people to sponsor your group or to present at events? Has it been a really good response from the DC data community?
So sponsorship has been an amazingly good response, I think. We just started asking people to sponsor like specific events in May or June? May? It was May. I think it was May. Because I was thinking on a shoestring budget and not getting anything for meetups. So they usually didn't cost anything before that, and now I realize that people will come if you have food. And so, but people have been amazing with sponsorships. In fact, in Vincia Labs for this last meetup, just volunteered to sponsor food without me asking. So that was amazing. Speakers, that is a little bit harder. But still not like impossible. We've had lots of people volunteer speak. Sometimes speakers do drop out at the last minute, and then we have to find a new speaker at the last minute. But it's not as hard as I think it would be if I was throwing a conference. Because meetups, they're not as much of a pressure. It's not as much pressure when you're presenting at a meetup.
Curious about how your members were. So your members that are not local to DC, how do they participate?
So they get emails from us. Some of our meetups are live streamed, or not live streamed, but they're recorded and then put up on YouTube later. And DC2 is working on being able to live stream all of the DC2 meetups. And they have some new technology that's doing a really good job when they're able to get it to the meetup. A lot of the members that are in other states, I believe that we met through things like I went to Strata Hadoop last year and announced WDS DC at the diversity lunch, and I know that the people from Ohio and North Dakota joined then because they wanted to start a group like WDS DC there. And people from, I suspect the people from California and Georgia are people from my company Cybrix that have, because we have offices in Georgia and California. Otherwise, hoping that we're going to do better about live streaming events and that people can participate from anywhere. Yeah.
Since this is a Python conference, can you talk for a minute about PyLadies? Did I jump ahead?
So this is kind of a sticking point for me. PyData is not Python only. PyData is for Python, R, Jupyter, and Spark.
Yay!
Hard to do it all together.
But it originally started out to be just Python because most data scientists were using Python, which is why I presented an R Shiny. But I would have to give the floor over to Jackie to talk about PyLadies because I'm not affiliated with PyLadies.
Hi. We're co-organizers.
Yeah.
She's amazing. PyLadies, I think there's about 70 organizations around the world, give or take now. It's really decentralized, so if somebody wants to start up a chapter, they start up their own chapter. We're about up to 800 now in the DC chapter. And it's sort of sheltered and does a lot of work with the Python Software Foundation. PyLadies is actually now looking for organizers' help. I've been onboarding some new organizers to sort of pass it off to other people because Women Data Science DC. I love both of them, but I only have so much time. So, but yeah, so we are generally hosting monthly, but we have the same issues that other folks have too with spaces and speakers and that kind of thing. There's another woman in North Carolina, Julia Ellman, who she and I are working on a side project to try to solve some of these spaces, solve some of these problems, to be able to hook up sponsors and spaces and speakers and that kind of thing, and also encourage people who don't speak to become a resource to speaking.
What's the mission of PyLadies? What do you...
Increase diversity in Python. So it was started by, I think, 5 women in LA. DC was the second chapter. And we were just like, let's create another one. Can we do that? And they were having some conversations amongst themselves that may not have been in agreement, not about us starting, but just about other things. So we're like, okay, we're just gonna do that anyways. And then they started to like help us and that kind of thing, and we grew into a much bigger organization. And I could also see, I don't know, Mandi and I haven't really talked about this, I could also see that happening with Women Data Science DC. Surprise.
You mean growing to other states?
Yeah.
Oh,
I know we took the name from somebody else.
no, we didn't.
No?
No, we didn't.
I thought there was somebody else with a similar name.
So there was women data scientists, or San Francisco women data scientists, and then there was or no, it's San Francisco Women of Data Science.
Okay.
So it was similar, but not the same.
But I could see like taking and growing the brand and then having like a larger organization.
World domination of WDS.
Yeah. I hope that answers your question.
Okay.
I have another question. I noticed there are quite a few gentlemen in the room, and I wonder if you had to give a message towards the guys who are in data science who want to, ensure that there's sort of open spaces where women can enter data science and learn and be colleagues where it's more than one person on a team. What sorts of advice or tips or I don't know, any kind of things that you think men can do to enhance the environment for their women colleagues?
That's a really good question. So I'm really lucky, and the team that I'm on treats me like a person and not gendered. And that's amazing. And they respect me for the things that I like and I don't like, and my behavior most of the time. And so I would suggest that you treat the women colleagues as people and not necessarily women. And definitely don't pull a, what's his face from Silicon Valley? I can't remember his name. The guy that nobody calls by his real name. Anybody remember? Who?
There's Big Head.
No.
In Silicon Valley.
That nobody calls him by his real name. They call him like Brad or Ben or...
Bill Gates?
No.
The business guy.
Yeah, the business guy. The pivoting guy.
Jared?
Jared, that one. So don't pull a Jared and try to be all super excited that you have a woman when you just treat her like a person and a talented person, especially if she has talent. But I guess like I wouldn't say I don't want special treatment. I want to be treated just like everybody else. Just with respect, that's all. Does that answer your question? Sure. Cool. Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you guys.